Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good, Sam. How you doing?
Good. You're almost, I guess, midway through the season. Just how would you evaluate your group kind of as a whole and their body of work?
Yeah, I think it's been good. I think we've gotten through a number of, hurdles. I think the COVID hurdle, injury hurdle, and we continue to work through all these things. And considering that we have a new coach, two new coaches, a few new players in limited practice time, I think while we're still a work in progress, I think we're pretty pleased at where we're at right now.
I could follow up just about Lars Eller. I know he went home to Washington yesterday. Is there an update on him and when he's going to rejoin the team?
Yeah, no update yet. He's still attending to his situation. I think we should just leave it at that. And when we get enough information, we'll update, or Lars will update everybody.
Thank you.
Yep.
We'll go to Tarek Al-Bashir with The Athletic.
Brian, this is the first time we've talked to you since Tom Wilson was suspended for 7 games. I wanted to get your thoughts on the punishment and where do things go from here? What are the conversations like between yourself, between Peter and Tom?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably a sense of frustration throughout our team, our organization. I think, I've spent a lot of time with Tom, discussing, there's nobody that knows the details of body checking and what the league is looking for and evaluating on body checking more than Tom. I mean, he's very detailed in it. So when we get into a situation that doesn't exactly fit into a suspendable hit situation, I think everybody gets frustrated. The player gets frustrated, coach gets frustrated, management gets frustrated. I think, the result of the hit is not what you want. And I think, maybe Tom got punished for that. But from my point of view, I think there's hits that we question the league, especially on Oshie. We've had 2 or 3 on Osh that we say, we don't like the result here. It's resulted in an injury, and what's your thoughts on it? And so when it comes back that it's not a suspendable hit, I mean, we get frustrated there too. I mean, this category of totality of the circumstances is new, and I see where they're trying to fit was it a suspendable hit or not a suspendable hit into that category. And so I think basically we're frustrated with it.
What went into the decision to not pursue an appeal?
I think discussions with the Players Association, Tom and Tom's agent, on whether it would make sense. I think the appeal takes pretty lengthy time. You have to go through Gary Bettman, the commissioner, first to get to an independent arbitrator. So I think they felt that by the time that went through, his suspension would be up. He'd served his suspension.
We'll go to Ben Raby with Caps Radio Network.
Hey, Mac, I want to ask you about Ovechkin's season. He's a goal behind noted sniper Nick Backstrom for the overall team goal scoring lead. But given the unorthodox start to his year with the COVID absence, you feel he's regained his form, or is there maybe even another gear for Ovi in the second half?
Yeah, I think there's another gear. I think he's worked through some things physically that, not quite injuries, but, he got through the COVID, got through some minor stuff physically. I think the last couple of games, he's been more on target. I think he'll have a really good second half here. I think we're getting through the period of, maybe not practicing, not being totally there after the COVID, after some injuries. I think he'll have a good second half.
JJ Reagan with NBC Sports Washington. JJ, please go ahead.
Good to see you, Mac. Just what is your take on the goalie situation and where you guys stand on that with Vitek Vanacek and Ilya Samsonov so far?
Yeah, I think, obviously they're young guys. Vitek's done a great job for us here. I think, he's really seized the opportunity he's been given. Nothing we would have predicted coming into the year, and he's been solid, and I think he's improving. I think he's been given a lot of responsibility. He's handled it. I think it's impressive what he's done for where he's at. From not getting the opportunity that he deserved to taking advantage of a situation and running with it. I think it's been impressive. I think Samsonov is, he's had a couple good games here. I think, that it's been a struggle a little bit for him to find his footing and to get up to speed and to get into game conditioning and get some games under his belt. Last few games, I think he's been solid. So we'll see where he goes from here too. I would only anticipate that he's going to improve and get better and get more comfortable.
And if I can follow up, have you seen enough from them to be satisfied with the goaltending position heading into the playoff, or is that?
Yeah, I think we need a bigger sample size on Samsonov to see where he's at. How much of the load can he carry? I think we got a good sense of where Vitek's at, and I would think Vitek's going to continue to get better too. So, we'll monitor here over the next month and see where we're at.
We'll go to Tom Galletti with NHL.com.
Hi, Brian. What can you tell us about where things stand with Obi? I know you guys were supposed to talk before the season about his contract. Is that something that's just on hold for now, or how would you describe it?
I don't really have an update, Tom. It's the same as, it's been all year. We want him to finish his career here, and I think he wants to finish his career here, and at some point we'll get it done.
Is the uncertainty of the economics with the pandemic, it's been happening with some other guys. Is that a situation where you kind of have to wait? Are you waiting to see how that plays out before, or is it?
We just got to find a sweet spot that we agree on.
We'll go to Steve Wino with AP.
Hey, Brian. Bill Daly said yesterday that it seems like the draft is going to stay on schedule in July. I'm curious just your thoughts on that and just how difficult a year it is with a lot of prospects who are draft eligible not playing.
Yeah, I think I talked to, our amateur scouts haven't been able to watch many games. We've been trying to do as many things as we can, video wise. So there's probably a sense of frustration, on the players that they don't get to show where they're at. I think, projection is going to be a big deal for this year's draft. You're going to have a year of missed opportunity to view, to see where they're at, how they progressed. And you're going to make your evaluations based on a year earlier. So it's, there's some chances for mistakes, and there's some chances to hit some home runs here. And hopefully we can take advantage of it.
Do you worry about the current prospects you have who aren't getting a chance to play? I know Connor McMichael gets a chance to play in Hershey, but do you worry about just even the guys you've drafted already not getting a chance to develop a season?
I think we're pretty pleased with the way most of guys have gotten ice time. We've got a couple of guys in the KHL. We've got a guy in Europe. We brought guys back when we can bring them back. I think overall we try to get guys playing as much as we can in circumstances that they can continue to grow. As teams finish in Europe, we're going to try and bring guys back and put them in Hershey to finish up the year in Hershey. So I think overall it's been good. Probably a couple of circumstances where you'd like to see guys playing a little bit more, but we're just trying to make the best of the circumstance we've been dealt.
We'll go back to Tarek El-Bashir.
In addition to monitoring the goaltending situation, are there any other areas that you look at when you look at this roster and go, if we can address it, maybe we'll be in the market for that?
I think it's, I like our D. I think we got 8 defensemen that can play. Usually I'm a little paranoid about adding D and having depth there for injuries, but I like where we're at. Forward group has been a balanced scoring group. I think Peter's done a great job of, defining roles, and we're getting contributions from all our forwards. So it's been good. I don't know that there's any glaring weakness. We'll monitor the goaltending situation here as we get closer to the trade deadline to see how they're doing. They both on track to play pretty well. So I think it's more playing it out here, and as we get closer to the deadline, we'll figure it out.
Thanks.
Go back to Ben Raby.
Mac, I want to ask you, with the coaching change and some of the personnel change on the roster, what's the biggest difference you see from your team today as opposed to even a year ago, as you dealt with some issues going into the pause?
Yeah, I think defensively we're a better team. When we're on defensively, we're not giving up much. I think, we've had some bumps in the road here where, figuring out the system with limited practice time. I think, we'd make some mistakes and they'd end up in the back of our net. But now I think I notice we're getting more consistent. There's a bigger period of time in a game where we're solid defensively and we're not giving up the high danger scoring chances. So I think our defensive group overall, the contribution from the forwards to playing defense has been a big deal and a big improvement in my mind.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the coaching change or the adjustments that Laviolette has made.
Yeah, both. I think the coaching change, I think Peter does a good job of communicating, establishing the way he wants the team to play, the way he wants individual players to play. And he does a good job of accountability within the system. When you're not playing to your role and within that system, he addresses it. So it's been good on all of those accounts.
Go to JJ Reagan.
Mac, we've heard a lot about how the challenges of this year with quarantine and things like that will affect the trade market. Just in your discussions with other general managers, does it seem like the trade market's a little tighter this year because of that? Yeah,
I think that and the salary cap. I think, you get, dollar for dollar trades are hard. We'll see how it goes here at the end with, teams picking up money and how you can fit, players into your lineup. For us, we're an LTI team, so it's going to be harder to do a trade that's going to benefit our team, I think, but we'll still go through the process of it. I think that the exchange of players from Canada to the US is going to be a bit of an issue with the quarantine process. It's uncertain for me. We'll see how it plays out here. Discussions are still going on, but it's tough for me to project what will happen here in the next few weeks.
And then just with the projection that the cap's going to remain flat for another 4 years, does that change any of your long-term plans in case of what you were looking at the roster?
Not really. You could run it. We could run into trouble and lose a player. You're balancing that with what's going to happen in the expansion draft. There's a lot of balls being juggled, and the flat cap makes it a little more difficult to make some decisions. So we'll try and just play it out and see where we end up.
I'll go back to Stephen Wino.
Hey, Mac, when you signed Zdeno Chara, had interest in Chara, what was it about how he's played recently that made you believe he could still do this at 43, soon to be 44?
Yeah, I just think, his presence. You watch him, at the end of games, he understands game situations. He understands, where to put the puck, how to defend in front of our net, how to stop the cycle. He does all the little things that you want a veteran player. He's a good leadership guy. I just think he just adds so much on a whole bunch of different levels. He's good for the coaching staff. He's good for young players. He's good for our main guys too. He holds guys accountable. It's just a good player to have, a good leader to have in your organization.
We'll go back to Sam Pell.
Curious to get your thoughts on Daniel Sprong. He's emerged here a little bit with Wilson out of the lineup. Do you think maybe he deserves a consistent spot in this lineup, or is there any room for him?
I think he's he did a good job with the team when we were in the bubble. Being on the taxi squad there, he's done a pretty good job here at the beginning of the year. I think the coaches have things that they want him, areas that they want him to be more consistent in, and obviously he's got a shot that can score goals. This is a good opportunity for him to establish himself, and hopefully he takes advantage of it while he's in there.
Tom Galletti?
Ryan, we saw Henrik Lundqvist start skating a few weeks ago. Is he still skating? What is his situation? And is it possible he could join you at some point?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's impressive what he's doing. I see the video like you guys see the video. It's I don't know how likely or unlikely it is. He had valve replacement surgery, and it'd be pretty incredible if he was able to come back. I guess we'll see where he is at the end here, but probably unlikely, but I wouldn't rule it out with him.
Have you been in constant contact with him or your training staff, or maybe just as he's going through this?
I think our training staff has been in contact with him, just because of the way the whole situation came about health-wise, that there's a relationship there, and that we've continued to monitor with him and our doctors how he's doing.
Thank you.
We'll go back to Ben Raby.
Just want to ask you about your top two centermen, Backstrom producing tremendously this year. What do you think has allowed him even to produce numerically even more than in the past? And conversely, what more might you be looking for from Kuznetsov as he continues to get back into regular shape after missing some time?
Yeah, Nick's having a great start to the year. I thought he came into camp in really good condition. He's a good player. He's been competitive from day one. He's been a good leader. And I think he's getting rewarded for what he's done off the ice this past off season by having a great start to the year. I think Kuznetsov has started to turn the corner here. The last few games, I've noticed, better play, better energy, better skating from him. I think time off with COVID, maybe set him back a little bit, and maybe he's playing catch up here a little.
Last question goes to JJ Reagan. Go ahead, JJ.
Mac, I'm curious what your thoughts are on the future of Jonas Siegenthaler, who was an everyday player last season and then signed a one-year deal. And then with Chara, has struggled to find consistent playing time this season.
Yeah, I just think it's a situation that is unfortunate. I think Siegenthaler is a good player. I think he's a legitimate first PK guy in the NHL. I think just the circumstances this year of team evolving and team starting to play well, defense starting to play well, players settling in, so it's gotten away from him a little bit. I think he'll get an opportunity here at some point, and he'll come in and do well.